In our second video for Lesson 1 of Section 1, we will examine another measure of central tendency, median. What is the median? It's the middle number when the data in a set have been arranged in order, either from least to greatest or greatest to least. We will normally go from least to greatest. And there will be two cases that we consider. Case 1, if there's an odd number of data values in our set, and case 2, if there's an even number of data values in our set. Case 1, an odd number of data values. And yes, this scenario is often considered to be a little easier. So here's our data set, 7, 10, 12, 15, 5, 2, 8, 19, and 4. That gives us 9 data values. And 9, of course, is an odd number. So what do we do in this case? First, we will organize our data from least to greatest. As mentioned, it could be greatest to least, but we will go least to greatest. If we look at our entire data set here, the smallest data value is 2. Then we have 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15, and last but not least, 19. Once organized from least to greatest, now we need to determine the number that falls in the middle. If we look at our data closely, we will see that I can group 4 pieces of data on the left. I can group 4 pieces of data on the right. That leaves me with 1 piece of data in the middle. So in other words, I have 4 pieces of data to the left of 8, and I have 4 pieces of data to the right of 8. There is a distinct middle value. Therefore, the median equals 8. This is the number that we have found to represent or to be representative of that entire data set. Case 2. What if we have an even number of data values? And yes, this scenario is a little more involved, but nothing we can't handle. Here's our set of data. If we count up the data values here, we will see that we have 10 pieces of data. And 10, of course, is an even number. Again, we need to find the median, the middle number. Step 1 in our process, organize our data from least to greatest. 12, 15, 16, 19, 20, then a 21, 23, 25, 29, and 30. Least to greatest. Determine the number that falls in the middle. And the reason why I've put middle in quotation marks here is because we can't get a distinct middle value if we have an even number of data values. Consider, if I was to group the first 5 pieces of data and then group the last 5 pieces of data, what value is in the middle? Well, I don't have a middle value. There's nothing there. So I can't group it as 5 and 5. What we do, we'll group the first 4. We'll group the last 4. We discover that we have 2 middle values, a 20 and a 21. What do? We need to find the middle of those 2. So in order to do that, we find the mean of those 2 values. In other words, we add 20 with 21 and divide by 2. 20 plus 21, 41, divided by 2 gives us 20 and 5/10, 20.5. And if you sit back and think about it, you may not need to actually do the calculation. If I ask you what is halfway between 20 and 21, you're going to say 20.5. Therefore, 20.5 is the median. Couple of examples. What is the median of the following data set? I'm going to first count the number of pieces of data in that data set, and if I do that, I discover that there are 7, which is an odd number, which tells me that a distinct middle value will exist once I do what? Once I organize my data from least to greatest. Let's do that first. If I reorganize these pieces of data least to greatest, I get 7, a 9, and another 9. So if a data value repeats itself, you need to include it. 7, 9, 9, 13, 15, 18, 22. When I consider my set now, I realize I can group 3 data values on the left and 3 data values on the right, leaving me with a middle value. Median equals 13. Our second example, this time if I count the number of pieces of data in my set, there are 8, an even number. This is the little more involved case again. However, our first step in the process is the same. We organize our data from least to greatest. 5, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 15, and an 18. I will again group 3 pieces of data on the left to match up with 3 pieces of data on the right, leaving me with 2 middle values, the 9 and the 11. You may just be able to look at that and tell me what is halfway between 9 and 11. I suspect you can. However, if you want to show a little bit of workings here, we add those 2 values, divide by 2, and 20 divided by 2 is 10. The median for this particular data set is 10. And now I'd like you to proceed to the next video in this lesson, where we will have a look at our third measure of central tendency.